Hi, Andy XL. I'm back with another NFXL podcast. Still battling my cold, so bear with me if I'm sniffling and coughing and wheezing and whatever. I'm here to provide you with the information you need, and this is related to the 2026 draft, as I've been doing throughout October, updating positions as we go through. And this one's going to look at the edge class. Now, I put them under edge umbrella, but it's basically defensive ends and outside linebackers. Now, I've got 20 that I'm going to talk about. Now, the average per draft this decade have been 5.67 in round one, 4.83 in round two, 6.33 in round three, and 3.67 in round four. Now, doing a quick add up, that's 10, 14.83, 15 and a half, about 20 and a half. So they should you should expect around 20 in the first four rounds, and I've got 20 here. Now there are two or three that might mix into that 20 that are moving up, that at the very bottom end I haven't added in just yet. But here's 20 guys that I've looked at this season. After September there are three top 10 overall pick candidates. So there's plenty of top end quality here. There's three more in the mid to low end of round one, no less than seven in round two. So what does that give us? That gives us 13 in the first two rounds, which is way above average. It's normally around 10. So it's a strong class at the top end. Um, got two in, but I've only got one in round three now. So and he's towards the top end of round three. So after these top 11 at the moment, there is a bit of a drop off. But let's get into them. Round one, Ruben Bain Jr., who is a junior at Miami. Um, Now, my pre-season blurb on him was that his numbers were down last season. He missed time early in the season with a groin injury. Um, he's a bit smaller than others, but he is very technically advanced as a pass rusher. And if he could get back to his freshman number or better in 2025, he would certainly be an edge candidate in high demand at the top end of the 2026 draft. And he's done that so far this season with 22 tackles and a pair of sacks and an interception in the first four games of 2025. Um, Now that's what he did in the first four games. Now he's now got 26 tackles, two sacks, and an interception, and a forced fumble. He started 2025 strong and is on course for his best year at Miami, which is cemented his chances of an early round one pick. And he's my number one edge guy at the moment in a strong class. Now moving up one from three to two is Keldrick Falk, a junior at Auburn, 6'6", 288 pounds. 228 would be a bit light. 288 pounds. Falk is an impressive athlete with great instincts. It's possible he could do with adding some bulk to his substantial frame to aid his cause in the NFL, but he heads into the 2025 season as possible elite pass rushing prospect, was what I said. He now has 13 tackles and a brace of sacks to his name so far this season. So not massive stats, but he's still showing up well. So he's moved up from three to two, swapping places with TJ Parker, the junior at Clemson. Um, Huge stats last year, 57 tackles and 11 sacks. He's a smaller, faster type. His technique and will to win allow him to win against bigger opponents. He also had a good freshman year in 2023. So with another strong season in 2025, he'll have many an NFL team clamouring for his services and could not make him not only the top edge candidate, which I'm still not ruling out, in challenging those above him, but one of the best candidates across all positions. So I thought very highly of him pre-season, but he's dropped one place here. 18 tackles and two sacks, a decent start, but nothing spectacular. But Bain, Parker and Falk look to be the cream of this crop, and they could all have a chance to go into top 10 picks overall in the 2026 draft. Now into mid-round one territory at number four, all unchanged is Mateo Ugalele. Hopefully, I've got his name somewhere near right. Junior of Oregon. Um, 38 tackles and 10 and a half sacks last season. The numbers speak for themselves for the 6'5", 270-pound pass rusher. But whilst he has got away with technical deficiencies at college level, he needs to improve technically to be an elite pass rusher in the NFL. But the upside is huge here, and that means he may well still get a mid-round one selection. If he develops his skills in the upcoming season, he could even be a top 10 overall pick. So that's what I said about him pre-season. So far, he's had 12 tackles and 4 sacks this season, and that's keeping him on track for that mid-round one pick, but probably not moving him up at this stage. Number 5 is still LT Overton, which is where he was pre-season, the senior at Alabama. He's an edge guy who's a rarity in that he's better against the run than the pass. After 2 years at Texas Tech, he transferred to Alabama, where he enjoyed a strong junior season. He's exceptional against the run, but he's decent against the pass too. His particular skill set will be valued highly by NFL scouts, and that could well see him go in the middle of round one. And he's got off to a fine start for Bama with 22 tackles and 3 sacks in 6 games. Now, the 3 sacks are interesting because that's showing he's improving as a pass rusher. But I've still got him at 5 overall at the moment. And the final round one guy is number 6, and he was number 6 pre-season, David Bailey, senior at Texas Tech. Now, at 6'3" and 240 pounds with a 4:52 40 time on Draft Buzz, he shapes as another smaller, speedier type. But once again, his lack of size will concern NFL scouts, as will his relative average work against the run. But his undoubted ability to get into the backfield and versatility to drop into coverage could get him into late round 1 or early round 2 contention come draft time. I've got him at the end of round 1 at the moment. And to back up these pass rushing over run defense credentials, potentially 18 tackles, but 8.5 sacks already make it a fine start for him at the Red Raiders this season. Right, that's round 1. Keep myself going with a bit of a drink of coffee. Try not to cough and wheeze too much. On we go. Round 2, a busy round this. Still at 7 and unchanged. So not, at the top end, there's not a lot of change in my rankings from pre-season because they're all doing it good. Danny Dennis Sutton is the next up, senior at Penn State. 6'5", 272 pounds. Dennis Sutton has the size to compete in the NFL with a 4.68 40 time on Draft Buzz, has better speed than others at the top of his class. There's still room for technical refinement and development, but the physical tools are certainly in place for DDS to be an excellent pass rusher at the next level. 23 tackles and a pair of sacks make it a decent start for him, and they keep him in the first round conversation, despite staying still in position wise, and he's right on the borderline of round 1, round 2 territory. So I've got him dropped into round 2 at the moment, but it depends on demand. Basically, the supply is certainly there. How much demand is there? So I've got him right at the beginning of round 2 at the moment. Right, next up was 11 on my previous listing. He's moved up 3 spots. It's Cassius Howell, senior at Texas A&M. He had 40 tackles and 4 sacks last season, and now transfers to the Aggies from Bowling Green he transferred from the Aggies from Bowling Green for the 2024 season, having recorded 28 tackles and 9.5 sacks as a sophomore at that lower level. His tackle numbers were up last season, but his sack numbers were down. But it was still a decent season at a higher level of competition. Once again, speed is his asset, but size and strength are areas of concern ahead of the draft. If he can get his sack numbers up in his senior year, he will improve his chance of a day 2 selection in the 2026 draft. And he already had. And so what's he done? Well, he has done more than that. 8 sacks in just 6 games. And that's put himself up into the top end of round 2 and possibly the first round contention, and moved him up 3 places on my list to 8. Another one moving up 3 spots is R. Mason Thomas, senior at Oklahoma. His numbers took a marked jump in 2024 following 2 seasons where he battled ankle injuries. He really stepped up in terms of sacks, but he needs to demonstrate he can perform at that level for more than 1 season and that he can stay healthy too. So he's had 16 tackles and 4 sacks so far, and that's backing up his strong 2024 in a manner that makes him a possible second rounder. Moving up my board from 12 to 9 for edge guys. A new guy in my list next is Quincy Rhodes, a junior at Arkansas. Jumps into my list at number 10 with 24 tackles and 5 sacks in the first 6 games of 2025. Came into what could be a breakout season for him this year with all the physical attributes but lacking in technical refinement. Well, he seems to be developing quickly this season, and that puts him into mid round two level territory now. Right, another one on the up. Josie, sorry, let's see how far he's coming up. 9, 10. Up a couple of spots. Joshua Joseph, senior at Tennessee. He's a similar type to David Bailey, but he has a wider wingspan that aids his cause greatly in getting into the backfield. But his issue is finishing the job off when he gets there. He needs to learn how to turn pressures into sacks. So that's what I said about in pre-season. And he is indeed on the rise, up 2 spots with 25 tackles and 4 sacks. So the sack numbers, he's doing what was required of him, as I saw it pre-season, and that makes it a strong start to 2025 for him. Right, so he was up 2 spots to 11. The next one's another new entry coming in at 12. It's like pop charts. This Romeo Height, senior at Texas Tech. Height is another on the rise. Is there a gag there somewhere? Coming in at number 12 with 15 tackles and 4.5 sacks so far this season. He's a better pass rusher than run stuffer, excuse me, and he's on the small side but has speed and energy to burn. He also needs to improve his tackling technique if he is to solidify borderline round 2, round 3. Well, I've got him in round 2 at the moment and sort of towards the bottom end of round 2. Right, final round 2, guys. Gabe Jackass or Jackass, if you surely he's not a jackass. Jackass, senior at Illinois. His stats could not have been much more impressive last season with 74 tackles and 8 sacks, and that rank him right up there with the round 1 candidates. But he will have some physical measurables to overcome, and we know how damning those can be in the eyes of draft evaluators. So that's what I said about in pre-season. So far this season, 23 tackles and 4 sacks make it a nice start, but his tackle numbers are down on 2024, which is costing him draft stock wise and 4 spots on my list. And those size issues are related to the tackles possibly. So one to monitor when we come to the sort of pre-draft activities. Right, one guy in round 3, that's Tyreek Sapp, a senior at Florida. Now, excuse me. Pre-season, I said, whilst overall Sapp has all the physical traits required to be a quality edge rusher in the NFL, his initial move is not the quickest, which can leave him fighting an uphill battle against quicker opponents. But he still has enough to overcome that potential weakness, which is something he will look to address in the 2025 season. If he does, he could even find himself making it into round 2 of the draft. Well, I've still got him in round 3, and that's because his stats are 18 tackles and a single sack. That's seen him slide 4 spots and towards round 3, unless he can shine like others are doing in this class. So there's all my round 3 guys. And like I say, after Sapp, there are some guys moving through the mid ranks, as it were, but they've not really got up to his level yet. So there's quite a drop off before we get into round 4. The first one I've got there is Suntarine Perkins Jr. at Ole Miss. Now, he was 8 in my previous list, so he's all the way down to 15, dropping 7 spots and into round 4 right now. Just 26 tackles and no sacks so far this season, says it why he's dropping. One coming in just below him is Anthony Lucas. He's coming back from injury and has got 13 tackles and a couple of sacks that get him up into the sort of mid top end of round 4 right now, and into my list at 16. Like I say, he's making a decent return for injury that cost him a chunk of time in 2024. If he keeps showing this form, he could well move up into day 2 territory. Right, Anto Saka, the junior at Northwestern, is another on the decline, dropping into round 4. He's dropped spots because the likes of Rhodes, Height, and Lucas are pushing him down the list. 7 tackles and 2 sacks are just, the tackle numbers are way down, and that's costing Saka a potential day 2 pick right now. One that's gone in amongst this little group is Zion Young, a senior at Missouri. He's a new man on my list, coming in at 18, and he's off to a good start to his senior year with 18 tackles and 3 sacks. The sacks are impressive as it shows he's rounding into a good as good a pass rusher as he is against the run, which is definitely a strength of his. Physically, he has good arm length that will impress scouts and has versatility on his side too. Which, if you think of the level teams might be looking at here in the sort of late day two, early day three, a guy who they can plug into multiple positions can be of high value. So that's on his side as well. Miko Kamara, senior at Indiana, is on the slide as well. Just 10 tackles and a solitary sack. Has seen others move above him and drop him into day three right now. And the final one, who's really taken a big drop so far, there's quite a few edging past him, is Kenyatta Jackson, senior at Ohio State. Um, 8 tackles, 1.5 sacks. Make Jackson another one dropping into day three. And he's my number 20 edge guy right now. But there's like 3 or 4 that are battling him for even that. So, he could well drop out to 25 and whatever. And then that really sees him sliding into sort of round 5, 6, 7. So he really needs to get going. So that's the edge guys as I see it now. Like I say, the first 13 into the top end of round 3 with Tyreek Sapp. Uh, that makes it a very strong top end of this class, but then there is a drop off at the moment. So demand to get one of those top dozen or so could be high come draft time. So that's how I see the edge class at the moment. What should I do next? Right, I've done defensive tackles, I've done edge. Let's have a look at inside linebackers and safeties next. So stay tuned for that one. See you soon.